Derek sir?
Yes. Yes, we can start the program. Please start the program.
Yes, start the program, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. Welcome to today's webinar. Program agenda. Welcome address by Professor S. Neshakumaran and followed by Chief Guest introduction also Professor Neshakumaran and Director Sir address and sessions take by our today's Chief Guest Mr. Shibin Muhammad, followed by Q&A and vote of thanks by Dr. V. Kumaresan sir. Now over to Professor S. Neshakumaran.
Very good afternoon to all. I am happy to welcome you all to this webinar session organized by Entrepreneurship Development Cell of Knowledge Business School, Salem, on the title A Prelude to Entrepreneurship Competencies. On this special occasion, I'd like to welcome our today's resource person of the day, Mr. Shibin Mohammed TK, Assistant Faculty, EDII Ahmedabad. Welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome Dr. PSS Srinivasan sir, founder and principal of Knowledge Institute of Technology, to this webinar session. We welcome you, sir, in absentia. I'm very much pleased to welcome our director, Dr. A. Stephen sir, to this learning session. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to welcome our faculty members and students friends to this learning session. Once again, I welcome you all to this webinar interaction session. Thank you. Next, I would like to share the profile of today's chief guest, Mr. Shibin Mohammed TK. Sir is presently working as an assistant faculty in Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Ahmedabad, and currently taking care of Southern region. He is qualified BTech Mechanical and ME Aeronautical Engineering. He is with 5 years of experience in guiding various technology-based startups across state of Kerala. He is also pioneer in institutionalizing innovation and entrepreneurship development center. He is also certified in Empertech program graduate, mentored potential and existing student entrepreneurship across the state. His area of interest includes techno-entrepreneurship, Internet of Things, innovations and life skill development. Sir recently organized 14 days faculty development program on behalf of EDII Ahmedabad in Kerala. So on this special occasion, once again, I welcome the today's chief guest of the day, Mr. Shibin sir, to interact with our KBSS students. We welcome you, sir. Over to director, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, my dear students and faculty members, my dear chief guest. Welcome you, sir, for the webinar at the KBSS on the topic A Prelude to Entrepreneurship Competencies. We are so happy to have you, sir, because we understand that we have certain difficulty in our family because of illness of one of our family members. You are attending that, and as well as you are committed to the program that you have fixed already. We are very, very thankful to you, sir. You are highly committed and so passionate in teaching. This is what the students should have all about, the kind of risk-taking and adhering to the commitment that is very, very important, sir. Our country is the population of 130 crore population plus, but everybody cannot be an employee of a company or so. A lot of students need to be an entrepreneur. In Knowledge Business School, ours is a standard business school, sir, affiliated to Anna University, Chennai. We give lot of focus on entrepreneurship. We conduct lot many programs on entrepreneurship. We invite successful entrepreneurs of Salem region and Coimbatore region to Knowledge Business School, Salem, and ask them to interact their stories to our students. At the end of the story, the students can ask the questions, that clarify the doubts, the risk taking that the businessmen have taken, the challenges they have faced. Such a sort of an workshop and executive interaction program we are organizing at Knowledge Business School, sir. At this juncture, we are so happy that you have come to interact with the students from Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. This is very, very relevant, sir. Thanks to the COVID-19, because of which we have an opportunity to have a session in a webinar. As a director of a B school, sir, I take pleasure in saying a few words about knowledge group of institutions. Our Knowledge Institute of Technology is an engineering college started in the year 2019. Dr. PSS Srinivasan sir was a founder secretary of Knowledge Institute of Technology and Knowledge Business School, and as well as the principal of Knowledge Institute of Technology, Salem. Along with 50 like-minded professors, he started this institution in the year 2009, and a lot of achievements have been done, sir. Okay, we are accredited with the NAC, we are accredited with the NBA. Again, we have applied for RENAC, and recently our principal sir has organized NBA and OBE workshop for 6 days. There were around 800 plus participants from all over the colleges, many faculty members, and also many faculty members from across the state. We have conducted that program for 6 days, and we also made it live in the YouTube. After that, we had AICTE examination reforms, in which the faculty members of Knowledge Institute of Technology are oriented to the faculty on those aspects. Our principal sir, Dr. PSS Srinivasan sir, was awarded the Best Principal Award in the year 2016 by ISDE. Okay, he guides us in all the ways, sir, and I'm happy informing you. When it comes to Knowledge Business School, sir, it started in the year 2011. In the year 2019-20 admissions, sir, we stand across the state of Tamil Nadu in the top 50 positions in terms of percentage of seats filled. My sincere thanks to the students and the faculty members, and also to the industries who have supported us. All along, we have been achieving 90% of placements for the students. Sir. We're also focusing on entrepreneurship, sir, because now is the right time to have a startup culture in order to have a good ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem among the students. We focus on a lot many aspects of that. And our curriculum is designed like this, sir. Entire forenoon, we earmark for conceptual learning. Entire afternoon for experiential learning. Post lunch, we give business and newspaper to the students. We ask the students to modulate on a particular article, and by means of that, they get to know certain English vocabulary and also the business vocabulary. They should understand the scenario, what is happening in the business, what is happening in the economy, macro environment and micro environment. Such a knowledge they have, sir. Also, we have market studies. We divide our students into different groups. We send to the different organizations of Salem and nearby region. We ask them to do a market survey. And we also ask the students to talk to the businessman and the corporate people in understanding the problem, and pertaining to the problem, they prepare the question, take the survey, tabulate it, and make the findings and present to the organizations. Every year we have such a market survey orientations to the students. We also have a book founders club, sir. We ask students to study a book and summarize on the key points of the book. We have a movie review. So entire afternoon we earmark for experiential learning, so that students, the hidden talents, it will come out, and they also can develop a new talents. Such a venture we have among our students of Knowledge Business School, sir. We are happy and stating to you, because first time we are interacting. I'm happy stating to you, sir. Today your topic is a prelude to entrepreneurship and competencies, sir. It is very, very relevant. Okay, whoever is working in an organization as an entrepreneur, they are innovative within the organization. Whoever is an entrepreneur as an independent, he takes the business and innovate to his business in terms of product or services. So both are innovators, so as to speak, both entrepreneur and entrepreneur. Every student want to be independent, sir. He wanted to start the business. He wanted to be on his own. Having studied MBA, a lot of students have passion. But one question is pertinent. What kind of a business they can start? What kind of innovation they can implement? What kind of a differentiation they can sustain in the market so that they can be successful? But also, sir, even among the family, there are not much support among the family to be an entrepreneur, to be a businessman. They
Yeah.
say you're taking a risk. Okay, you're plunging into the business. There are a lot of risk taking is there and things like that, sir. And students would like to know what kind of competences are required, what kind of risk taking they have to endure, what kind of challenges, how to be innovative, how to take the new problem so that they can be innovative and sustain as a product or services. These many questions our students have, sir. Surely your session will throw light on those aspects. Surely our students will ask certain questions pertaining to the mind, and your answers will be an insight to the students, sir. Once again, sir, I'm so happy you're part of the webinar at Knowledge Business School. To the students, happy welcome you, sir. And my dear students, it's a wonderful session. Have a great learning and great insight. Thank you, my dear students. Thank you, sir. And the session is yours, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, sir. So I hope it was a very wonderful welcome which was given to me. And as Director sir had introduced, I am currently working in the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India as an assistant faculty. And I was also, prior to that, a facilitator for the United Nations Entrepreneurship Program for Kerala. And before that, I was a faculty in a college, in an engineering college. Actually, my background is engineering. I'm an aeronautical engineer. So it's actually a big, it might be a big surprise, like to all our students, like how a person, such a rapid shift has come. So I was actually managing the entrepreneurship development cell, just like our sir here, our quotation sir is doing, and that is true. Like how I got into the United Nations program, and then further on to EDI, where I stand right now. Actually, like just to reflect on what the director sir has said here, uh, we have here a culture of uh, branding entrepreneurship and having a great deal of sustaining entrepreneurship for our country for the economic growth. But recently, what is generally misinformed is that we are not taking entrepreneurship in the face value as such. Entrepreneurship is not like nothing like a modern lingo or a stylish word which we have to pursue. It is much more than that, all that. So in order to be a successful entrepreneur, it's not just like going to the TV shows, going to the investor launches, the pitching sessions, and actually there's a huge lot of work which stands behind all that. So today's session, I'll be covering some sort of like I'm not directly going into all the business details, like all the core concept, like a business plan, how to do that, how to do the opportunity identification. So all that I'm keeping it aside for some other day. Right now there are certain things or certain prerequisites that each person might be having for pursuing a career in entrepreneurship, or maybe pursuing a career in becoming a successful entrepreneur, for example. So this session mainly aims not to create or not to transform you into startup generators or entrepreneurs, but just to sow a seed of entrepreneurship into your mind, just to sow a seed of entrepreneurship. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm not going to do anything about that. Okay. So I'll just go directly to my session. Um, like, I think maybe you already would have got an idea like about what I am and about my from my profile. So I'm not going much to that. And one thing I have to just take an excuse for the first time, like maybe the picture which you are seeing in the poster doesn't match what I'm looking, because it's a post-COVID, the COVID effect which I'm having on my face. The hair is not cut, and also I'm excusing for that. Okay, first of all, thank you. Anyway, so I'll begin my presentation right now. I would like to have this as an interactive session also, that some sort of answers come from your side, maybe the faculty, and I'm also focusing much on the students too. So that will be a much more interactive mode of operation for me too. Okay, so I would just like to begin this. Is a screen shared properly? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I would like to begin with a question here. I am showing here the photos of 6 individuals. I would like you to just reflect on who they all are, if you know them. Yeah. Probably they might, like, you might be knowing them. Like, and who they are and what do they have in common. First of all, I would like to know who they are. Can the audience please, like, if possible, they can unmute and tell? Yeah, anybody? Even the faculty members. No problem.
Dear host, you can unmute certain students. They can answer to the professor.
Yes, sir.
Please unmute few students so that they can answer to professor. Please.
Yes, Anusuya, you can answer.
Sir, second one is Jack Ma.
Jack Ma, good. Yeah.
And
What about the person?
sir,
Third person?
so third person, I don't know.
Okay. And what about the bottom row? Anybody? Anybody?
Dharmaraj?
Yeah.
Dharmaraj, you can answer.
Sir, second one is Jack Ma. Last one is Mark Zuckerberg. And then in last row, second row, middle one is Apple's owner, sir.
Yeah. What's his name?
Apple owner is
We are all going behind Jobs, maybe. Steve Jobs. Okay, Steve Jobs. Then
And the first one is Microsoft owner. His name
okay,
is
what's his name?
Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates. Good, very good, very good. And the last person, the bottommost person.
Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook.
Very good, very good. So you don't know this person?
Sir?
You don't know the third person? I mean the first row, third person?
Sir, Ambani, sir.
Okay. Okay, what about the first person? Anyone know? The third person, I think it is Dhirubhai Ambani. You know him from Reliance Industries.
The first
right?
one is Jeff Bezos.
It's not Jeff Bezos. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It is one of the, he is the founder of a particular software which is used by maybe more than 1 billion people all over the world. And I think maybe even you might be using it.
I don't know, sir. No idea.
Okay, fine, no problem. He's a founder of WhatsApp. His name is Brian Acton. Have you heard of Brian Acton?
Sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So these people, like, what do they have in common? Well, that is something which we have to look on to. It's like any entrepreneurship development programs. You can see the name of Mark Zuckerberg coming up, Brian Acton coming up, and maybe Alibaba, the founder, Jack Ma. So forget about the names and all. So what do these people have in common in them? They have a spirit of entrepreneurship, or they have a passion to create something from nothing, right? Even if you take the case of WhatsApp, Brian Acton and Jan Koum, they too are the founders of WhatsApp, and they were actually working for Yahoo at that time. And they were doing this as a part-time project in the home. And suddenly it became a multi-billion company. It is like sold right now in 2018, it was sold for $22 billion to Facebook. And you all know the story of Jack Ma. He was actually a teacher. For all the professors out there, I'm telling you, have a great future as an entrepreneur. He was a teacher. He was rejected 23 or 33 times from Harvard. He was rejected from jobs until he became an entrepreneur. Dhirubhai, our own Dhirubhai, I'm not talking about the sons here, I'm talking about the father. The father is, I feel he's more entrepreneurial. He has been like, he was actually the main, he was like filling the petrol in a petrol pump. He was a worker there. And then he was in Yemen. And then he had a vision of owning a petrol pump someday. Now, Reliance Industries are like holding the major or controlling the major oil capital of the country. All the three in the bottom lines are all college dropouts and all these things. Like you take the case of Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, he didn't complete his Harvard, and Mark Zuckerberg was doing Facebook like his project. After that, he had to drop out. So what is the point? My point is like it is not like you have to drop out of college. Yeah, please. Somebody has raised a hand. Anusha. Anusha N.
Anusha?
Anusha N has okay. Any queries? You can ask any queries. Yeah, please.
Sir, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So yeah, it's okay. It's no problem. You can ask any queries anytime. There's no problem. So my point is not to drop out of college. That is not what I meant here. Thing is like you have to see what they have in common. So all these people, they are successful entrepreneurs who built a business from scratch, from nothing. So what is the main purpose here? Like, what are we doing in our entrepreneurship programs here? We are showing the photos of Mark Zuckerberg. We are showing the photos of Jack Ma. But little are we knowing that we are just showing examples to you, right? But there are certain things which you have to develop within your own so that you can follow these examples. So that is what I will be focusing today. So just like any other entrepreneurship program, I'm just showing you the photos of, you'll be thinking, okay, here he goes with the photo of Mark Zuckerberg. So there are certain things what we have to learn from these entrepreneurs. The first thing, whatever you have to go, if you're pursuing entrepreneurship or not pursuing entrepreneurship, the first thing is life begins at the end of your comfort zone. That is something which you have to identify, which you have to understand. I know you are all MBA students. You are all doing your first year and the second year of your MBA. But one thing which you have to be informed is that there is a certain mechanical way in which our life is currently going. As you might be knowing that we are all, maybe we are joined the MBA program because of like some sort of compulsion from our home, and after that we are all looking for the job at some sort of a big company, and maybe some will be looking for a higher studies, and after that we go to a job. After that we get what placed from there, or we get deputed to another one company. Maybe with our luck we'll go to some other foreign university or something, or maybe a foreign country, do a job there. And after that we all go to the adulthood, get married, have a bunch of kids. Again we move to the next stage of our life, where we grow old, retire from the company, and ultimately we die, right? That is the normal way of life, like any other person, including me, what we are doing, right? So, what is different in some sort of people or some group of people in this world from this other group of people? They have made a difference by getting out of their comfort zone. We all know that getting into an MBA degree, pursuing the MBA degree, getting into a job, all this are, it's not a big, such an unattainable task. So as long as you're not coming out of that particular point where something is not unattainable, you're still in your comfort zone. The moment you come out of your comfort zone, you will try to understand what are the difficulties or what are the challenges in life, and accordingly you will try to adapt to it. And that is how our mind grows, and that is how the people grow. That is how successful people are made. So that this is something which you have to understand. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. You can experiment that. This comfort zone is something which you can always experiment. I used to give an example that you know that all of us are going maybe by the college bus, or we are catching a bus to our home. But just imagine one day you have to make a planning in your mind. What will happen if I lose the bus which I'm regularly going? Maybe the next bus, or maybe the next bus after that, or maybe it's the last bus if I lose it. If a normal person does or comes in such a situation, he will surely panic, right? But if a person with proper planning does it, he will have to do that particular planning. If such a situation comes, I will do this thing. I will first of all I'll have a call to my parents, or if I don't have a mobile phone, I will catch an auto. I'll go to this place. From there, I can catch a bus to this place. All this sort of planning works in your mind, right? So this happens when you are put in a challenging situation. So only in a challenging situation you will have that tendency to adapt to a change or come out of your comfort zone. So this is something important. Whether you go for entrepreneurship or not go for entrepreneurship, this is something which you have to have in your mind. So nextly, what is entrepreneurship? Like, we have a lot of definitions for entrepreneurship. We have like many definitions from Harvard. We have definitions from EDI. We have definitions from UNM Protect. But generally, entrepreneurship is just solving some sort of problem around you through some sort of an innovation or an innovative product, process, or activity, which has some sort of a business potential. And that business potential can give you some sort of a reward, which also have some element of risk. So this is basically entrepreneurship according to me. You have to identify some sort of problem which is generally pertaining to you or other people around you, and you have to solve it. That is generally, and through solving means you have to introduce some sort of a genuine innovation there, or maybe some sort of a new concept which you can solve that. From time immemorial, we have drank the water from a bottle. Why not you try and change it to some other means? Because the ultimate aim is to drink the water, right? So this all, everything, whatever the elements of entrepreneurship is, like, there is the three elements. The main element is like risk, control, and reward is there with a business potential. It's not like going and getting to entrepreneurship, jumping into a business and making a huge profit. That is not entrepreneurship. You have to solve the problem through a product or process. There is an element of risk and reward. And for an entrepreneur, every problem will be some sort of an opportunity in disguise. There is nothing like a problem. So, what is the importance of entrepreneurship today? Entrepreneurship is important for the growth of the economy. You can see that in our country, almost all the major MSMEs, in the MSME sector, we can see there are about 6.3 billion MSMEs in the country. And in that, about 50 or 70% is from the small business enterprises or the small startup groups or the small units. So that much is a contribution of the small units to the economy of our country. It might be the small article making or the puppet making unit to the small startup which makes a robot. Everything has its own share to the economy. So entrepreneurship generally paves way to the economy of a country. But in the meantime, if you're working for another company, like, it's not like, I'm not telling you needn't work for another company. If you're working for a company like Google, you're working for Google. Might be a startup in America, but that is
Mr.
different
Sibin,
from
sir.
where you're working for. Yeah, please.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Yeah, hello.
You can take out your headphones, sir.
Okay, fine. Clear now?
Hello?
Is it clear now?
You can start, sir. Then you can start, sir. You can start.
Okay. So, as I was telling, it is a main feature for economic growth. And it is a source of innovation
Sir, again
for
it's breaking,
creating
sir.
new kind of products, new kind of innovative services, ideas.
Sibin, sir.
Still breaking?
Again it's breaking, sir. I think you can check, sir, please.
Let me see.
Yeah, please.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
It's okay?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Yeah, any point if it's not clear, please inform me. So I
So,
can, there's no point in, yeah. Okay, if the point is not clear, please inform me.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So it will create a lot of jobs for people. Like when you are rather being a job provider and a job seeker, it will create a lot of jobs. And moreover, it will create a lot of personal development. So I'm now today in this class, I'm focusing on the personal development part. As an individual, how you can develop your personality for a better entrepreneurial or an entrepreneurial future. So before going to the competencies, that's the main crux of the today's session, I'm going to one part which is called enterprising tendencies. So there are generally 5 enterprising tendencies within each individual, which has to be inculcated to form into competencies. So again, I'm telling you the enterprising tendencies are there in everybody. It is there in each and every individual. But that doesn't mean that he or she should be an entrepreneur. And the first enterprising tendency is need for achievement.
Sir, sorry, it's
The-
again breaking, sir.
It's breaking.
Can you please reconnect, sir? Reconnect it once again, sir.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I'll just reconnect again.
Yeah, please, sir.
Sorry for the delay. Yeah.
Sir, guest came, sir. So please connect your audio, sir. So please connect your audio, sir. Hello, sir. Sibin, sir. Sir, unmute, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Clear, sir. Proceed, sir. Please. Sir.
Okay, okay. Sir, extremely sorry for that. I don't know, like there's some connectivity issues. Is it now breaking? The voice is okay?
No, sir. It's very clear, sir. Please, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. So I was talking about the enterprising tendencies. So the first one is need for achievement. The need for achievement is one of the tendencies which you need to have for pursuing your entrepreneurial career. So like what we have here is I just given an example of the master blaster, Mr. Sachin Tendulkar. So he's the only cricketer. You can see that he's the only cricketer in the world who has 100 international centuries. Okay, so just below him, we can see Ricky Ponting is like having 71. So just with each century, he is having that particular need for achievement that, okay, I should reach that 100. Or maybe when he was in the 50th position, he would be having the target of 75. Or maybe he'll be having the next target of 80 or maybe 100. And that is how we have that particular enterprising tendency within us. So whenever you have some sort of an achievement, try to gain more. Try to achieve more and try to aim for the next level. That is one of the tendency which you have, which you should be having in order for being more enterprising in nature. The next one is need for independence. So we all know who she is. She is a famous Indra Nooyi. She was a former CEO of PepsiCo, and she is from Tamil Nadu. You all might be aware of her. So Indra Nooyi was born to a very orthodox family in Tamil Nadu from Chennai. And she had actually finished her UG studies in T Nagar in Madras Christian College. So just imagine, like in India, a lady who is usually like any lady who is usually born in a small place like of Tamil Nadu, or maybe even in Chennai, if she's born in Chennai, there is a certain level, or maybe there is a certain point where each of them have their dreams too. Maybe they want to get placed in a big company, that's it. Or maybe they want to grow from there. And most of them are like taught the basic skills of being a good homemaker rather than being a good CEO. Right? So Indra Nooyi's father was actually working in the State Bank of Hyderabad. And they were just a very middle class family. But from there, she had that pursuance in her to be independent in nature. That I need to be independent. I need to set apart from what the others are doing. Like that, from Madras Christian College, she went and joined by Calcutta, and then Yale University, and the rest is history. And she had worked for many companies like Johnson & Johnson, Stay Free, and many interventions. You can also be very notable from her habits that whenever she went for an interview, rather than after her MBA, whenever she went for an interview, rather than taking a coat and suit, she was always wearing a sari. Because that is what she wants to make a model. She wants to be independent. Be or feel the independence within you. Then only there will be a person for growth, which made her the CEO of Pepsi. The next enterprising tendency is a drive and determination. There should be a drive and determination factor within us in order to move forward. Just like the example of Mother Teresa, who actually from Italy, she came all the way to Calcutta, and she was actually helping the people. And the leper, you know the lepers, right? Leprosy, or people who are affected by leprosy. She was directly helping them, feeding them with using her bare hands. So just imagine that drive and determination. Why should she do all these things? Just come from all the way from a foreign country and do this. So she had the determination for that. This is a very famous figure for creativity and innovation. You all know Einstein. Einstein is a person who was very much innovative. I'm not telling you have to be like Einstein in order to be having an entrepreneurial career or mindset, but at least some sort of spark of innovation should be there within you. If you take his example too, at the age of 12, he was able to master calculus, algebra, and geometry. I don't know like whether I was able to finish my calculus even after BTech. That itself was a great thing for me. Okay, but that I'm not saying to that level of Einstein, no. But you should be thinking innovatively. Think outside the box always. You have to think outside the box in order to be enterprising. And the final enterprising tendency is a calculated risk-taking enterprising tendency, which is very important. Again, I have given the example of E. Sridharan, who is known as a Metro Man of India, who has been behind very, very famous projects as the Delhi Metro, the Lucknow Metro, Kochi Metro, and the Konkan Railways, everything. So this person, this is one of the person who had to a lot of political pressures for undertaking a project in a particular area. So he learned how to isolate that particular project from all the political pressures, and that makes him a particular example of calculated risk taking. I'm not telling you go and jump and take a risk. It's not like that. Entrepreneurship is not going and taking a risk, but the risk what you take should be calculated. The amount of fall, if in case you fail, you have to be calculative of that. So these are some of the enterprising tendencies which you need to have. There are 5 enterprising tendencies. Now, getting to the crux of the subject, we are going to the entrepreneurial competencies. Entrepreneurial competencies are some of the qualities or competency a person should have in order to be entrepreneurial. I'm not saying entrepreneur, but entrepreneurial, or they have to inculcate that entrepreneurship mindset within them. So entrepreneurial competence was actually developed by Professor David McClelland of Harvard University. And I'm very much proud to say that EDI and McBain and Company of US were a part of developing the competencies which we have today. Initial research study for this by the team was conducted in India, Malawi, and Ecuador. The entrepreneurs from that particular region in India, Malawi, and Ecuador was asked to come and do the presentation or do the study over there. So this is actually an important study, and these competencies have been developed. At least 15 competencies were developed in this manner, out of which 13 competencies are currently studied and applied worldwide. The UN model, the United Nations model, have taken this model from India and the Harvard University, which EDI and Harvard University work together, and have come out with 10 competencies. So we are going to the EDI model again because naturally because I am from media. So we will have and know what are these competencies which are necessary for any entrepreneur. So the first competency if you want, you can note down this. The first competency will be initiative. What do you mean by initiative? Initiative is a competency in which you have to take an initiative in order to do things. Without initiative, nothing will happen there. Whatever it may be it your project, be it your study, be it your higher degree, you have to take the initiative. Without initiative or without taking the first step, you cannot succeed or for anything, be it entrepreneur or your job. This is the first thing. First competency, that is initiate to do the thing. I have to do the thing. Yes, I will do that. I have to take the first step. Mindset or that passion should come within you. This is the first competency that you have to reach or come within you. The second one is calculated risk taking. As I told in the tendency part, you can take risk, but the risk which you have taken should be calculated. You have to be calculative of what will be the feature if in case I fail to succeed in taking that risk. For example, you all are students from a college. In that perspective, if I say, maybe many of you you bunk class and go for movies, right? Maybe a new movie might release and you will all think of cutting the class, a Vijay movie or something. You will be thinking of cutting the class and going for the movie. So a person, sometimes your friend will tell, okay, Macha, we'll just go for the movie together. Why not? We can just go like that. But the person who is calculative, what they'll tell? Okay, if I have now 80% of attendance, I can cut attendance for half a day, watch the movie, I will lose 10% of attendance. Again, if I go and sit in the second half, I can regain that much. And if possible, I can make my friend call proxy. And again, I can, okay, I'm sorry for all the professors here, but I'm still just telling. So this is actually taking a calculative risk. You can take a risk, blindly take a risk. That is different. Taking a calculative risk, taking what will be the impact of it once you take the risk and fail is different. The second one is, or I'm sorry, third one is seeing and acting on opportunities. Whenever an opportunity comes, you have to see and act according to that. You all know that we all are faced by a drastic pandemic situation today, that is the COVID-19 situation. Many business failing all over India, all over Tamil Nadu, Kerala, you name it, any state, the business people are failing there. But there are many people here who are actually taking an opportunity from this fall. For example, just like we have the Zoom platform here. The Zoom platform is a platform which made $1 billion revenue just within the COVID-19 time. Many entrepreneurs which we have trained by EDI, for example, the rural entrepreneurs in making bags, school bags and cloth bag, they are into mask making, they're making PPE kits. They are seeing the opportunity and acting according to that. You know that after the COVID-19 situation, one of the major problem that will be happening here is a food shortage that is going to come. So why not you develop something or develop that means having some sort of food or maybe a food startup or a food unit which is some sort of a value addition. So in this way, the opportunity, you all know that we have a pandemic situation, we have some sort of a situation, but it doesn't mean that we have to lament for the situation. Think of it as an opportunity and gain something out of it. As students, this is a golden opportunity for you to undergo, for example, increase your skill level and undergo many type of online classes and all. This is seeing and acting on opportunities. So this is one of the competency. The next important competency is persistence. You persist, you try to be, or you don't fail, you don't give up until you get what you needed. In the case of the students itself, I'm giving an example. If, for example, when I was working in college, the students used to bring the record books to me. And they completely bug me. They used to tell me, sir, please, and whenever I go to the bus also, they will bring the record book, sir, please sign this for me, do this. They used to be persistent. And ultimately I will tell, oh my God, I'll just sign it, right? That's the meaning of being persistent.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
can you please take out your headphones, sir? So audio voice breaking is there.
Okay. Again, the problem.
Headphone alone you can take, sir. ஹலோ
ஹலோ சொல்லுங்க. அதான் பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். வாங்க வாங்க.
Something else. One minute.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So I'm using a different connection. I'm using the Wi-Fi connection here. I'll use my maybe mobile connection. I don't know what is the problem. It's never happened before. I'll see.
Sir, only headphones, sir. Earlier it was good while starting initial. So you can proceed without headphones, sir.
ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிடலாமா?
Stop.
Can you hear me now?
Hello.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Sir,
Is it clear now?
it's clear, sir. It's clear, sir.
Clear.
Sir, clear, sir.
Is it clear? Yeah.
Clear. Yeah, you can proceed.
So if at any case like it's not clear, please tell me. Okay. So I'm talking. I was talking about persistence. So that is one of the competency which you need to have. You should be persistent of what you're doing. Okay. Until you succeed at what you want, you should try for that. You should never give up. So I'm going to give you a small problem here. I'm going to show you a picture and I'm going to ask you how many squares do you see in this particular picture? You can see that there are a lot of, it's a square box with a lot of squares embedded in a lot of squares. Yeah. So you can all unmute and tell me how many squares do you see in this particular picture? Quotation, sir, you can unmute the students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Susmita mentioned 24, sir. Susmita? Susmita, unmute it.
Sir,
Talk.
24. Sir,
Yeah.
24.
How much? You can take your time, and you can count. Or you can, yeah, I think many of them are typing. I can see there is 27 coming, 25, 27, 27 again. Anyone more than 27? Yeah, how much? More than 27 means how much? I need the number. Nine. Good, good. We have 29 here. Anyone more than 29? 29 again. So Ganga has told, Dinesh Kumar has told 29. Okay, fine. See, okay, we'll just see how much, what's an actual number. I'll just show you through a video. What is the actual number of squares we have here? Okay, I think some 31. Good. Dinesh has, I think, 2 more. Okay. So let's just see. I'll just play a video here and we can just see what is the exact number. So one thing I'll have to tell you here is like, it is not like one person who has found 21 is not having that much. It's not anything about intelligence, or it is not anything about having a good deal of what innovativeness, nothing like that. But it's just like how much you perceive from a single figure. Okay, so I'm just showing you a video here. I'll just play it from start again. Can you see?
Sir, you can
Okay.
You can stop screen once again. You start play the video, sir.
So it's not being. You cannot see the video now.
No, sir. No, sir. You have to do stop screen, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. I'll
Again, go to screen, sir, and you start video, sir.
So can you see now? Yeah, good.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so you can just count. These are the small squares that are being counted. So totally, you can see 24 small squares. I mean, no, 18. The small squares are 18. There are smaller squares than that. The even smaller squares, which is 18 number, extra small squares. There are some sort of a medium square, 9 in number, and large squares of 3 by 3, 4 in number, and a big square of 4 into 4, that is 1. The total squares are 40. Okay, so anyone got this number, 40? Anybody?
Dharmaraj mentioned in chat box 40, sir.
Yeah, okay, good. So Dharmaraj is like a person who sees a lot of opportunities. So what is a basic idea which I had to tell us, like all of you were shown the same figure here. All of you were shown the same problem here, but only a few could understand or identify more opportunities from a given problem rather than the normal 29 or 28 or 20 or something like that. So this is something. The problems which we see around us are all the same, but the way we identify the opportunity in an individual will be quite different. Now, the next important competency is information seeking. How much information can you get about a particular problem from a person or from your surroundings? Whenever you are encountered with a problem, encountered with something that you want to solve, try to get the maximum information about it as possible. That is one of the important competency which you should be following. The other one is commitment to work contract. Whenever you have a particular work assigned to you, whenever you have something, a duty assigned to you, it is your idea, or it is your duty that you commit to that particular work contract and finish it on time. Try to finish that particular work on time. So it is not like whenever we have something, we'll tell, okay, fine, this is something which I can do afterwards. It is not like that. Just imagine if, suppose you're employed in a company and your boss gives a assignment to you, a project to you, which you have to complete within 2 weeks. For example, 2 weeks means 14 days. The assignment might be pretty much easy for you because since you all are talented people, it might be quite easy for you, and you finish it within 7 days, right? Will you just go and tell the boss that, "Sir, I have finished within 7 days, give me the next assignment"? Is it natural? I don't think so, right? Normally, when we work for a company, we don't do that. But just imagine if this company is your company, and if you got a project for to work for 2 weeks, and you've tried to finish within 7 days, what will be your next step? It is your company. You will automatically try to give to the client, tell that, see, I have done it. I have done within 7 days. I have fit to my work contract. This is the difference. This is being more enterprising in nature. Concern for high quality of work. Having a great concern for the quality of the work that we do. In a normal company, you work from 9 to 5 or 9:30 to 5:30. When it reaches, the clock is striking 4:45, you will tell, okay, fine, I think it's time to leave. So whatever work I'm doing, I'll just do it. Or if your boss tells that you have to submit the work, you just do it haphazardly in a very fast manner and try to finish it, right? But if it's your company, or if it's your work that or your project that you have to do, you will try to sit for 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, maybe 8, 9, the whole night maybe, and try to deliver it in the utmost quality. This is an enterprising tendency. I'm again telling you, this is not only for entrepreneurship, you can practice it as an entrepreneur in your establishment or in your organization. The next is efficiency orientation. Trying to do in a more efficient manner. Whatever work is given to you, you're trying to do it in a more efficient manner than what your counterpart is doing. I'm just giving you, for example, I'm telling you, I'll give you an assignment. You have to make 100 copies of the assignment. You have to give 100 copies. There are 2 ways of doing it. I think that's it. Write the assignments. Maybe I'm telling you, write the competencies. All the competencies 100 times. You can write 100, 1 page, again, second page, again, third page. You can do that. Or you can write 1 page, take up 99 photos out of that page, right? Because I told you I need only 100 copies. Trying to do one problem or approaching a problem and trying to find a solution in a more efficient manner, in a more time-saving manner, okay? I'm giving you another problem here, which is called broken chain, okay? This broken chain, again, you can unmute or you can post your comments here. I have 4 strands of chain here. This chain is broken. Each chain section has 3 links each. You can see there are 4 sections with 3 links each. It's a full chain before. And when I was traveling in the bus or something broke. Okay. Just imagine I'm wearing a chain for the ladies out there. Okay. So I'm taking it back to a blacksmith or a goldsmith or somebody. And he's telling, for joining, I need 10 rupees. And for cutting, I need 5 rupees. How much will be the amount which you can pay for making a complete full chain? The chain should be complete without any obstruction. The whole, you have how many rings here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12. The whole 12 rings should make a full chain. How much money can you spend for that? You can just unmute and tell me. If you didn't understand the question, you can please post a query here. Anyone?
Can raise your hands. Or say,
You can raise your hand. You can tell if possible. 60 rupees from Shushmita of first year MBA. 60 rupees is like what Shushmita has told. Yeah, Dharmaraj. Again, yeah, please.
20 rupees, sir.
20 rupees. Okay, Keshavan, please explain to us how can you do for 20 rupees? Very good. If I can do it for 20 rupees, fine.
Okay, someone unmuted, pa. You can talk.
Rupees 5 for cutting and 10 for joining. I'll give you a hint. We need to cut one portion and we have to take this ring and join here. I mean, one ring should be cut and the other part of the ring should be joined to this ring so that it makes a strand. In order to make a complete chain, a complete round chain, how much will be the money which I have to give? Anyone? Quotation, sir?
Sir,
Faculty also can answer. Anyone can answer. Yeah, somebody has raised a hand.
Yeah, I'll unmute.
100 rupees. Yeah, please tell how that also is important. Yeah, Keshavan, you can please tell me how, and Madhubala also. You can speak and tell me how it's done.
சார் சென்டர் ரிங் கட் பண்ணா வந்து மேல ரெண்டு ரிங் வந்து 10 rupees, சென்டர் ரிங் வந்து 20. அது சார் 2 3 4 5 6 7 80 rupees, 80 plus 10 100.
அந்த எண்ட் இது எப்படின்னா அந்த எண்ட் ரிங் கட் பண்ணினா இது செகண்ட் செயினோட ஒரு ரிங் வந்து அங்கே ஜாயின் பண்ணலாம். அப்போ அந்த எண்ட் ரிங் கட் பண்ணதுக்கு 5 rupees. அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த செகண்ட் ரிங்கோட எண்ட் வந்து அங்க போட்டு ஜாயின் பண்ணதுக்கு 10 rupees. அப்போ 15 rupees ஆக்சுவலி.
Yes sir.
That is for 2 strands, right? And that too again we have to connect it with the 4 strands there. We have 4 totally. So how much it will be? Okay, generally what we say is like we think in this manner. Okay, quotation sir, is it possible to see my mouse pointer?
Which one, sir?
The mouse pointer is visible?
No, sir.
No, okay, fine. Is there any means of having a mouse pointer? Okay, fine, no problem. So generally what we do is we actually cut one ring, one inch.
Sir, now it's okay.
We can cut one ring, one inch, right? But we do it like for cutting we take 5 rupees, and this part we join it, right? This part we join to this. That means 5 plus 10, 15. Again we cut here 5 rupees, and we take this part and join this. That is again 5 plus 10, 15. So 15 plus 15, 30. Again this part we cut and we join this to here, and we have 5 plus 10, 15. And again we have one more portion. That means we get a long chain here, right? That is 5, 10, 15, 15, 30, 30 plus 15, 45. And for making it a full chain, we again cut this end and this end and join together and make it 15. That is 60. That is a normal thing. Or I have seen some people answering 60 here. I don't know how the IT come. I would be very interested, but I'm not getting an answer for that. But that is 60 rupees is a normal charge which anyone can charge for this. Now let me give you another example. Just imagine if we are cutting in this manner. What I'm doing is I'm keeping all the 3 chains in a circle and one chain here. Okay, and one chain I'm cutting from this 5 rupees and I'm joining here for 10 rupees. That is 15 rupees. Another ring again I'm cutting from here and I'm placing it here and I'm joining it for 5. I'm cutting, joining for 10 rupees. Again 15 rupees. Another ring again I'm taking it, cutting it for 5 and join here for 10 rupees. So what is the total cost? 15, 15, 15. What's the total cost now? $45, right? 45 is the total cost. So that is how we brought the cost from 60 to 45, right? So the same problem, when we have a problem given to us, there are multiple ways of doing it. In one view, when we are suddenly viewing it, we will feel that it can be done for 80 rupees or 60 rupees or even 100 rupees, but there will be some method in which you can do it for 45 rupees too. That is called efficiency orientation. The next important competency is systematic planning. Have a planning in your life. Your mother and father used to tell you all the time, right? Make everything out of a planning. Always like the IIT, the babies we can see, they'll be planning in their life. 8th standard, I'll join this place. 9th standard, I'll go to this tuition. 10th standard, I'm not going to tell you should do that. That's micromanagement planning. That's not what I meant. But when you set out for something, have a plan. Whenever you set out, even if you're going to your friend's house, have a plan of what you're doing, what time you'll be spending there, how much time you're required to be spending on something, and what time you'll be back. Everything in your life, there should be a planning. This is one of the important competency. The next is the problem solving competency. The approach for solving problems. Like right now we introduced a problem to you. If you have the same approach for solving a problem, that is another important competency. This is the third and final puzzle. I'm not going to again drill you with so much puzzles here. Okay. So I need you to verbally tell me out of this puzzle. So there is 3 boxes here. Box number 1, 2, and 3. 3 boxes here we have. And in one of the boxes, we have a car. Now, please don't ask me how the car came to the box and all. Okay. The one of the box, there is a car is there. But there is a speciality for this 3 boxes that there are 3 statements written on this 3 box. You can see there is a statement written on box 1 that the car is in this box. On box 2, it is written the car is not in this box. On box 3, it is written the car is not in box 1. There are 3 statements written. And only one of the statement is true and 2 others will be false. One statement will be true and 2 other statements will be false. So can you tell me, can you solve this problem and tell me in which box the car is present? Believe me, only 51% of the people who approach this problem will be able to solve it in one go. But that doesn't mean that you have to think in that way. You try to tell me, think of a solution and try to tell me in which box the car is in. Again, I'm telling you, there are 3 statements written. Only one of the statements is true and 2 statements will be false. So Dinesh Kumar and Vignesh from second year MBA, very good. They have proactively told box 3 and very good skill they have for initiative because they have taken an initiative in answering. So if possible, I'll be very much happy to hear from Vignesh how he told box 3 or from Dinesh. I don't mind anyone, no problem. Yeah, Dharmaraj, yeah, please. Anyone can open their mic and tell me how you got that particular answer.
Sir, box 2, sir.
How? Please tell me. Yeah, very good. Please tell me.
Sir, if the car is in the box 2, then the statement in the box 1, the car is in the box, that is also false, sir. And the statement in the box 2, the car is not in the box, that is also false, sir. The only statement true is box 3, the car is not in the box 1. That is true, sir.
Yeah. Very good, very good, very good, very good. So if it was a stage, I could have given some sort of a memento to him, but unfortunately we are in a Zoom meeting. Okay, very good answer. So this is actually an example for lateral thinking. So just like what he told, I'm going to reflect on that. So if the car is in box 1, just imagine you have to assume if the car is in box 1. So you just read the statement, the car is in this box. The first statement, this car is in this box. That is a true statement. Again, the second box, the car is not in this box. That is also a true statement, right? So 2 true statements cannot come at a time because we have written here only one of the statement is true. So we can rule out or we can cancel box 1. Now think of box 3. Just assume that the car is in box 3. We can read the first statement. The car is in this box. For box 1, that is a false statement. The car is not in this box. That is a true statement. The car is not in this box. For 2 is a true statement. The car is not in box 1. in box 3 it is written the car is not in box 1. That is again a true statement. That means two true statements are coming, which is again a contradiction. So now if you assume the second scenario, if you assume the car is in box 2, you can read the first statement, the car is in this box. That is a false statement. The car is not in this box. The car is not in this box. That is also a false statement because we have assumed the car to be in box number 2. The car is not in box 1. That is a true statement. So, two false statement, one true statement. That means the car is in box 2. This particular example here is an example of lateral thinking. It is a divergent thinking approach, which is a very difficult, or which is some approach which you have to mastermind with your thinking approach. So this is not a simple thinking approach. As I told you, only 51% of the total people who approach this problem will be able to solve it. So this sort of problem solving skills is something which an entrepreneur should require. The next is self-confidence. Whatever you're doing, be confident of doing it. Don't approach a problem without